Good morning, welcome back, good evening, whenever this video finds you. I'm basically going to go over the Gen 2. This UI needs rework, but before I begin that, I have one big tip, and I'm going to go ahead and let my friend Esqueleto Professional Luchador go ahead and give his 2 cents on this whole scenario, and it pretty much sums up my biggest tip for the Gen 2 challenge. Go ahead and take it away.
Say it again to my face.
I hate them.
Come again?
I hate all the orphans in the whole world.
Thank you very much, Esqueleto. With that being out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and try to write some numbers down here. Because, yeah, basically, a lot of these Pokemon evolve into Pokemon in other generations, and you cannot use them. Something else to look out for is Cyndaquil here has a Hisuian Typhlosion form, so depending on the time of day that you evolve him, it might evolve into a Hisuian Typhlosion, and then you cannot use it for your run. In my own Gen 2 run, I brought my red shiny Weavile, red shiny Sneasel, evolved into Weavile, realized I couldn't use it, and went, oh my god, what have I done? I believe I also brought Cleffa, evolved it into Clefairy, and then into Clefable, and then realized, what have I done? So, let's just quickly do some numbers. Cyndaquil can't be used. Hoot Hoot is very underrated, extremely strong with its passive. Leddyba is kind of just Leddyba. I don't even know if its passive could save it. Its Prankster, probably not, if we're being honest. But it does have Spore, so that might give it a little bit of use here. Who else do we have? Spinarak, it seems kind of bad. Any of the guys that I have the little medallions here for means I've completed a run with them, so those are guys that I would recommend if I do miss them. And I know I just said that, and then obviously Spinarak has one. Also has Prankster. I don't know if I like that for either of them. Chinchou's pretty good. Water Electric is pretty bulky with either Volt Absorb or Water Absorb. Pretty good. Don't bring Pichu. Cannot bring Pichu. Evolves into Pikachu and Raichu. You can bring the baby Pokemon if you don't want to evolve them. That's kind of the only limitation if you really want to be a maniac and do that. Apalm seems to be okay. Passive is Scrappy, which is kind of good. Hoppip's passive is Fluffy, which makes it a lot more defensively bulky. Sneasel. Sudowoodo is one of those guys that you can bring him, but you cannot. As you can see, he doesn't have candies or like egg moves or anything next to him. Let me move my head out of the way. Because Bonsly, which is his pre-evolution, is in Gen 4. So you can bring Bonsly to evolve into a Sudowoodo, and that's kind of how you get the passive and everything unlocked. Meryl. You can bring Meryl, but I'm pretty sure you cannot evolve it into Azumarill. I don't remember if Azumarill is Gen 2 or Gen 3. Shout out my Gen 3 knowledge. I think if this evolves, I don't remember if it evolves in Azumarill. I want to say that's Gen 3. Mareep can evolve, and it has a Mega Evolution. I would highly recommend. Also has Static and Electromorphosis, which is pretty good. Natu is not that great, but it has Tinted Lens as its passive. Pretty decent typing. Is its ability Early Bird? Magic Bounce. I would recommend Magic Bounce, but it's not implemented, so I guess the only one you can go with is Early Bird. Helps you wake up sooner. Togepi, I love. I am a huge, massive fan of Togepi. I really want to get a Mega Evolution in the coming Legends ZA game. Look at that little dance. It's adorable. But you cannot evolve it past Togekiss. So if you're going to use this guy, you can only use him with Togekiss, or at Togetic. Do not evolve it into Togekiss. Same thing with Igglybuff. Same thing with Cleffa. Sunkern, honestly, just kind of sucks. Passive Drought helps it a little bit. With Chlorophyll, makes its speed faster. But you might want to rock Solar Power for extra damage. I don't know. You might want to rock Chlorophyll just for speed. Yanma, also great. Cannot evolve into Yanmega. Have to keep it as Yanma. Pretty good. Passive, Sheer Force, really good. Wooper could bring, I would probably recommend. It's pretty much like a smaller Swampert here. Murkrow, once again, cannot evolve it into a Honchkrow. Have to keep it as a Murkrow. Is this thing's passive? Dark Aura, not bad. I don't have the last egg move on it, but Dark Aura is basically Yveltal's ability. Makes any dark move attack a little bit stronger. Mischievous, once again, cannot evolve into Mismagius. You can see the pattern that we got going on here. Unknown is, well, there's a reason that it is a 1-cost Pokemon. It does have pickup though, so it might not be bad to bring if you just are kind of saving on some space for the team with that 10 starting cost right here. Wobbuffet, once again, kinda decent at best. Its passive is sturdy, and then once again, you have to go to Gen 3 to unlock Why Not, get it, I believe, evolve it into Wobbuffet through Happiness, and then bring it here, but you cannot use it until it evolves, so it's kind of useless. Girafarig, kind of a decent typing in normal Psychic. You kind of avoid one of Psychic's weaknesses in Ghost because you're immune because you're normal type. Parental Bond is a pretty strong passive. I just don't think its stats hold up that well. Pineco, you can evolve into Fortress, which is pretty good. Bug, Steel type. Oh, you can also bring Skarmory, so you'd have to go to Gen... Like, there's just a lot of overlap with different generations that does not work with Gen 2, which makes it really, really, really tough. This one does have Sturdy. It can set up rocks, be a rapid spinner, kind of decent. Slugma, not bad. Passive makes it a lot better because it's 4 times water weakness. It's one of its 4 times weaknesses is pretty much obsolete. Teddiursa, pretty cool. Cannot evolve it into Ursaluna. You can bring Ursaring. It gets Quick Feet. Oh, what the hell did I do? Okay, I pressed the button I shouldn't have pressed. It gets Thick Fat, which isn't bad. It gives you a nice, pretty much a nice resistance to fire and ice. Sneasel, really good, just can't evolve it. Heracross, really good. You can Mega Evolve them because Mega Evolution doesn't matter that it got introduced in Gen 6. It just matters what generation the Pokemon originates from. Shuckle, cool. Don't know if it's really going to be useful. Harvest is kind of whatever. Technician's actually going to be really good with Heracross and Mega Heracross because it gets Skill Link and it gets like Bullet Seed, Rock Blast, and a bunch of moves, multi-hit moves, so Technician boosts it a lot. I would highly recommend Heracross. It is a 5 cost though, so it's a pretty fat cost. If you use it to reduce cost, I guess you can get it down to 3. Quillfish, decent. Another Intimidate Mon if you happen to get its hidden ability. Toxic Debris passive is not bad. Kind of bulky, but once again, you cannot evolve it into Quillfish, or not Quillfish, whatever its evolution's name is. I cannot remember right now. It's from Hisui. Snubble. Unique in the fact that it's one of the only fairy types besides Togetic in this generation. It also does get Intimidate off the start, so no hidden ability needed. Its passive at Pixelate is pretty strong. It basically makes any normal type move into a fairy type move, so you'll always have a stab move, especially if you have the egg move Facade. Very nice. And if you get status, it boosts Facade's power. Gligar. I love Gliscor. I cannot emphasize that enough. Cannot evolve into Gliscor. Have to keep him as Gligar. Ground Flying is a pretty strong typing, shared with Landorus. And there's someone else, but I can't remember right now. Dunsparce. Red, shiny, awesome. Really cool. Cannot evolve it into Dunsparce. Have to keep it as a regular one. Swinub. Really cool. Cannot evolve it into Mamoswine. Have to keep it as a Piloswine if you really want. It's passive. Slush Rush makes it a little better, but you do need someone to set up Snow or Ice on the team for that to really be effective. Snow Cloak and Slush Rush might be a nice niche thing to do if you have someone that sets it up, because that'll give you double speed in Snow or Ice, and also I believe like a 20% or 30% chance to just evade moves, which is pretty good. It's pretty much the Snow equivalent of Sandbale, if you are familiar with that. Corsola. Pretty cool. Don't have to worry about evolving into Corsola because that is a Galarian exclusive. Remoraid evolves into, what, Mantine? Oh, no. Mantine's here. Remoraid evolves into Octillery. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. My geography and stuff is all over the map. Remoraid, kind of decent. Don't know. Hustle's a really bad ability. I would probably go with Sniper. I would go with Simple because that makes any stat change that you get increased by 2. So if you have Nasty Plot instead of a +2, you'll get a +4. Makes it pretty good. I do not know if he gets any of those moves, any setup moves in general, but probably wouldn't use them. I would honestly go with all 3 of the starters. Maybe Gliscor here, maybe a Heracross, Sneasel, just don't evolve it. Mantine. One of the mons that you cannot get candies and everything for, you have to bring a Mantike, and the evolution for Mantike, I believe I have a short for it on my channel, or if not, it's in the video where I catch Eternatus. And basically, in order to evolve, or to evolve Mantike into a Mantine, you have to either hatch a Remoraid or run into it in the wild. That is an insane evolution method for this guy. Skarmory, I would highly recommend this guy. Lightning Rod passive makes one of its weaknesses literally an immunity. Pretty good, very bulky, not really strong, but very bulky. Can help your team set up spikes and things like that. Kind of be a nice wall for the team. Houndour. I love Houndour. Reminds me of my Doberman. Also, gets a Mega Evolution in Mega Houndoom. You can use it. Would recommend. Its passive is Drought. So Hydro Steam and any other fire moves. I know Hydro Steam's a water move, but it gets boosted in the sun because it is Walking Wake's signature move. Very good. Its hidden ability, Unnerve, is also extremely good in this game because Pokemon can hold multiple berries. Phanpy. This guy carried my Gen 2 run when half my team was unusable because I evolved him into different generations. Speed Boost passive carried so hard with Swords Dance. You're pretty much bulky enough. I believe you get sturdy. I believe you get sturdy when you evolve into Donphan. So you're pretty much free to set up a Swords Dance. And even if they have a move that's super effective, going to knock you down to 1 health, you'll live. You'll get your speed boost. Most likely be faster if you pick a Jolly Nature. And then you sweep the team. Stantler. Stantler. Just a Mon that really gets Intimidate. Can evolve it into Weirdeer, but that's kind of fine, I guess. It's just a normal type. Smeargle, pretty useless, I'll be completely honest. And I'm saying that as someone who really enjoys using Smeargle. I caught and shiny hunted one of these guys in Scarlet and Violet and use it to catch anything else in the game that I have. What's its passive? Prankster, I guess that makes it a little more useful. I think Dark Void is still a 50% accurate move, so even if you have the egg moves on it, pretty bad. Tyrogue. Tyrogue's an exception to the I hate orphans rule because it does evolve into not Hitmonchan, not Hitmonlee, Hitmontop in this generation. So you cannot evolve into Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. You can only evolve into Hitmontop. Best of luck on keeping the attack and defense the same number when evolving it at level 20. Best of luck. Smoochum cannot use, evolves into Jinx, or if you want to use it as a baby Pokemon, which has one of the worst stats in the game, by all means, go for it. Elekid. Blue Shiny Elekid, pretty cool. Once again, can evolve it into Electabuzz or Electivire. Magby, same rules apply. No Magmortar, no Mag, whatever the other guy's name is. Miltank, probably the best normal type in this generation. Thick Fat and Stamina work pretty well. Thick Fat is the same ability, same passive that Teddiursa has. It'll basically make Ice and Fire moves not as effective or not very effective. It'll half them. Stamina is really good because every time you get hit, it'll raise your defense by 1, and if you stack that with Body Press, you're going to be doing a lot of damage with a physical move. Pretty cool. If you want to bring the legendaries, I normally don't suggest it because a lot of people don't have it. I would encourage you to if you want to beat the game really fast. They're obviously really strong. What's your passive? Transistor, which makes Ice-type moves, Electric-type moves, increases them by like 1.2% or 1.2, which is really strong. Entei, obviously really good with Moxie. Wow. Blue Shiny Suicune, one of my first Blue Shinies. Really cool. Passive and Unaware, ability and Pressure. These guys are all really good. They're obviously pseudo legends for a reason. Larvitar. This guy was my Gen 2 carry. Gets a Mega, very strong. It's Dragon Dance, Mountain Gale, very bulky. Can help set up Sandstorm. So maybe you want to bring like a Sand Team. Maybe you want to bring like a Wooper. Larvitar, maybe a Rock, and this guy, although he does change the weather, but only when he's out. Desolate Land is not like Drought or Drizzle. It only affects Slugma while Slugma is in battle, and once it's swapped out, its ability is no longer useful. People will swear by Lugia. I think Lugia sucks. I think Lugia is terrible. Delta Stream helps it a little bit, but it's just not enough to save it. That is basically Mega Rayquaza's ability. So if anything that is super effective against flying attacks it, it will be halved in damage and basically make it neutral. Ho-Oh is the best Pokemon of all time, and now it has Magic Guard as its passive, which basically makes it immune to rocks or recoil or poison or sandstorm. A ton of stuff. Magic Guard is one of the best abilities in the game, and I will stand on that forever. Now, Celebi. Passive is Grassy Surge, kind of whatever. Celebi's typing just kind of sucks. It's a legendary, so it'll probably carry you pretty far. You just have to be wary about bug-type moves, especially First Impression, since it is a priority move and it's 4 times effective against you. But my team recommendations for this would maybe be like Snubbull is kind of underrated here. I think Snubbull would be good just for the Intimidate. Centric for pickup to kind of help your team in the back. Hoot Hoot, get this thing's passive and get an egg. Get Boom Burst on it. I'm pointing to the screen like you can see me pointing. Get Boom Burst on it. This thing is insanely broken. Really, really, really good. Would highly recommend. The starters I would recommend, if you want to bring Cyndaquil, just be mindful and be careful that to not evolve it into Hisuian Typhlosion. I believe that's only done in the dusk or like at nighttime, so be mindful of that. I would also maybe recommend Heracross. It's kind of good typing, good defensively, very specially defensive, bulky. No Hoppip. I was gonna say maybe Hoppip can be saved. Absolutely not. The only thing that saves Hoppip is its low cost and that it's pretty fast once it evolves all the way. Houndour, I would highly recommend. Phanpy, I would highly recommend. Any of the pseudos or legendaries, I would highly recommend. Even Lugia, even though I said it sucks, I hate it, I don't like it. Any of the legendaries would always carry. Wooper's probably a little underrated. Comatose is really good if you can get the passive, because that means that it cannot be status, it cannot be poisoned, cannot be burned, cannot be put to sleep. It can't be anything else you can imagine. It cannot be status. Comatose is really, really good. And that probably does it for my Gen 2 recommendations, because half of these guys you literally cannot use. So be careful and remember the words that Esqueleto has told you. And just quickly to go over the megas, because I forgot, like there's some guys like Steelix doesn't have a pre-evolution. Well, it does, but it's not in Gen 2, so you have to look in a different gen. You have to look in Gen 1 to evolve from an Onyx. Ampharos, obviously Mega, great. Steelix, Mega, awesome. Scizor, yes, Scizor is awesome. I love Scizor. Would highly recommend. Mega Heracross, same thing. Mega Houndour, Mega Tyranitar. I don't know if anybody gets a Gigantamax form, but it is worth taking a look. No Gen 2 guys get a Gigantamax form, and that's pretty much it. But I think just to kind of put it a little bit on it, for your trainer fights, always just remember what floors they're going to be at. Ivy's fights are always set. The gym battles are the only ones that kind of change. Elite Four, just remember to get X items. The Ivy fight, always write down and try to remember what Pokemon she's starting with, because she's always going to start with that. And let's say she brings a Torterra, and it's obviously when it evolves, it's a ground, grass ground type. Whatever primary type the starter is, at 145 and 195, they're going to be terrestrialized to just be whatever their primary type is. So it'll always be a just grass, a just fire, or just water. The secondary type does not matter after 145 because she always terrestrializes it. And then also keep in mind, I think Snubbull, going back to Snubbull, is pretty good because of Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza and a Fairy type. I'm pretty sure a Fairy type always causes Mega Rayquaza to swap. And besides that, you can also, I don't know if it might be here or not, but the trainers. So trainers, gym leaders, elite fours. When you are doing your generation runs, remember that they will always be the elite four from that generation. They will not be an elite four from a different generation. So make sure, keep in mind that the Johto elite four will always be Will, Koga, Bruno, Karen, and then the champion, which will, kind of vary. I think it varies sometimes. I think for the most time it's probably in blue or red. Spoiler alert if you've not played the games in 25 years. So Psychic is pretty weak to Psychic, weak to Bug, Dark. Dark is weak to Bug. So Bug wouldn't be a bad typing. I just don't see a lot of great bugs here. Maybe Ground would be pretty strong too, or a Dark type, so to be completely immune to Will. Also, look at this. This, I didn't even realize this until I really just thought about it. This gives you a team breakdown of what Pokemon they will have. So it gives you 4 out of the 6, which I think is very honestly probably more than you need. These last 2 being random, which is really fine. And, just use the resources. This is the PokeRogue Wiki, man. Do not be afraid to use this. Any of these generations, just remember that that's who you're going to be fighting if you're doing the Generation Challenge. With that said, best of luck. Get out there. Thank you very much if you made it this far. Drop a like, drop a sub. I'll be doing Gen 3, Gen 4, and all the other ones very, very soon. So take care. Have a good one. Get out there and don't be afraid to lose. Restart. And then kick Ivy's ass.